Jeremiah 29, verse 13. Then you will seek me and require me, and you find me when you search for me with all your heart. And it says, then with a deep longing you will seek me and require me as a vital necessity, and you will find me when you search for me with all your heart. Seek me and you will find me. Deuteronomy 4, verse 29. But from there you will seek the Lord your God, and you will find him if you search for him with all your heart and all your soul. There's also one, I'll have to look it up later, but it talks about how he will pull you out of the pit. This was the case for me. I want to share my testimony, and what happened was there was a point in my life, I want to say I was 25, I'm 32 now, and I really was struggling with depression, suicidal thoughts, and that's something I had struggled with off and on since I was 9 years old. And I got to the point where I was planning a date time and how I would do it. And I remember sitting in my car and crying out to God with all my heart, crying out to God and asking if he was real. I asked him, if you're real, show me right now, because if you're not real, there's no reason for me to be here. I remember there was just such an ache in my heart. I walked around with this ache in my heart. It hurt so bad. I just wanted to cry all the time. But to everybody else, I would smile and act normal. I would act happy. I'd put a mask on, and I was so tired of doing that. I would take substances to help myself numb the pain, but nothing was working at this point, and that was just making things worse. I was in between jobs working as a Lyft driver, and I even said to God at that time, I said, if God is real, I'm probably going to hell anyways, so what's the point? I'm not a good person. I've done bad things. I know I have. And so because I thought, God was only like a judgment type thing, where you judge you and you've sinned, so you're going to hell. So I thought, well, that's gonna be me. But I said that out loud, and I cried and cried until finally I was waiting for a ride for the next passenger. Finally, there was an alert on my phone for the next passenger, and so I wiped my tears, I put my sunglasses on, I put on a fake smile like I was always used to doing. Nobody would be able to tell that I was ever upset. I would redo my makeup, all those things. And so I just drive right down the street to the grocery store to pick up this passenger, and I pulled up, and at the time a middle-aged woman, maybe in her 40s, gets in my car. And she immediately turns to me and takes my hands very gently, and she says, "Can I pray for you?" And no one had ever asked me that before in my entire 25 years of life. And I said, "Okay, sure." And she begins to tell me that, these were her exact words. She said, "Jesus is wrapped around you so tightly right now, and he's not letting you go." And I remember just feeling this vibration like all around me of just like warmth and love. And it was amazing. And I was crying. And she said, he's sorry. He's sorry about your real father, because I've never known my dad. And she said, he just can't be a dad right now, but Jesus says that he wants you to call him your father, and that he loves you, and that you are not going to hell. And man, that just really hit me, because I had just said that. I just said, well, I'm probably going to hell anyway. I'm not a good person. And she said, he says you're not going to hell. She said a few other things that only God could know, really. And then she released my hands, and I drove her home. And it was absolutely amazing. So I don't know how God did that day. It just showed me that God is in control, and he orchestrated that. And it showed me that he's real. He's definitely real. And it showed me that when you really cry out of desperation, because I was so desperate, I really didn't want to end my own life, but I was going to. I was going to do that. And I was planning a way to do that because I couldn't take the pain. And since then, I've been free of the pain. He's delivered me. He's healed me from depression and suicidal thoughts and anxious thoughts. I've started reading the Bible. I started going to church. And all these things have changed my life. And he can change your life. He can change your life too. And I just want to share this because I think if there's somebody in that situation right now, I'd want them to hear this story. And I'll talk about it more. I'll come on here and talk about it more. And I just thank you for listening. If this resonated with you, please type something in the comments and please share this and like this. Thanks, guys.